Welcome to Hey Las Vegas. I'm your host, Bror Fredrik, the voice of Las Vegas, bringing you all Las Vegas's latest news, information, updates, and the occasional what the actual F. On today's episode, we're going to talk about ICE and the potential of them expanding their detention facilities here in Nevada. Yes, it's not directly Las Vegas related. However, it is Las Vegas adjacent, and it's something we need to talk about, especially given the population here in Las Vegas. And we're going to get into that right after this. Welcome back. Before we get into this conversation about detention facilities here just outside of Las Vegas, I want to wish everyone an absolute amazing 2025. Happy New Year, everyone. As you can see on the left and right, what you're looking at right now, the barriers up there are the city of Las Vegas, the Strip in specific, getting ready to handle all the people that are going to be out celebrating in a mere few hours. So again, I want to wish everyone the absolute most exciting and prosperous and healthy New Year's possible. I'm not one big into all the, New Year's resolutions, but in my gut, in my heart, and in my mind, I know 2025 is going to be an interesting year, but it's also going to be a great year. So let's ring it in properly. All right, let's do that. So getting back to the subject at hand, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, also known as ICE, is out identifying locations for increasing their detention capacity. And one of the locations that they are looking at right now is the Southern Nevada Center, Detention Center. And where is it? It's in Pahrump. Like I said, it is adjacent to Las Vegas. For those of you who don't know Pahrump, it's, Pahrump's interesting. I've been there maybe a half a dozen times. It never seems to change. Although at one point I was like, you know what? I could buy like a 5,000 square foot house in Pahrump and, cost me like $130K, live the lifestyle, the whole bit. However, it's like a 45 minute drive outside of town, and it's not exactly my cup of tea. No offense to you people out in Pahrump, but Pahrump is Pahrump. Pahrump sounds like the name, Pahrump. But anyway, little did I know, this is the first I heard of it, they have a detention center, an ICE detention center in Pahrump. I've never seen it, and it's obviously not that big. However, what has taken place now, and I want to hear your opinions down in the comments, but I will preface by saying, don't be a D down in the comments. Yes, I want to hear from you, but at the same time, let's try to keep it civil and deal with this the way it should be dealt with. So, how did we find out that ICE is preparing to enter discussions with not only Las Vegas, but there's many states throughout the union that are in talks with expanding their detention facilities? Because if our incoming president does indeed have his way, we will need more capacity. When we see I'm not including myself, we as a nation will need more capacity. Now, how did this whole thing come to light? Well, the American Civil Liberties Union, also known as the ACLU, filed a Freedom of Information Act request that exposed, if you can call it, this issue. Now, they're making it seem divided right down political lines. Oh, now that, we have a new incoming president with this agenda to deal with our, I got to be so careful, undocumented situation, you know what I'm saying? Can't say what it really is. It's divided down those lines, and this is part of what he's doing. No, whoa, pump the brakes on this a second. Let's just be fair, and let's just say A couple of things here. One is that this Freedom of Information Act was filed way back, if you could say way back, in September. This was before the election even took place. So that's when it was filed, and the actual conversations with the state of Nevada, Pahrump in particular, with ICE predated that. So we're potentially talking 6 months to a year before there was even primaries. So this being a solely politically motivated thing does not really have, it doesn't pass the sniff test per se. Now, is it preparatory? Maybe. But here's the thing, what actually took place. The people who run this facility, it is a private facility. It is a, a private prison. It is privately owned, and they were the ones who approached ICE. They said, hey, how about we kind of get together and we expand the facility? Now, is this facility going to hold, like Red Dawn, where, they were hanging on to the fence, avenge me, boys, remember that scene? Is it like that? No, it's a detention facility, a prison per se, and it doesn't have that large a capacity whatsoever. There's a request from ICE that they want to expand. Once this private facility said, hey, we could expand to accommodate you, ICE turned around and said, hey, can you do like 850, maybe 950 beds? So obviously this facility is not huge. It's not out in the desert with a giant fence and barking dogs. Well, I'm sure it has some giant fences and barking dogs, but it's not, it's not like Red Dawn like. It's not like the scene from Scarface or anything like that. 850 to 950 beds is what ICE is seeking in such case. But remember, the offer was first made by the private prison operating company to ICE. ICE in response said, hey, that might be good if you can do 850 to 950 beds. It's also being posed all over, just in the western states. I know of Utah, Montana, several other states are climbing on board because we know for a fact that this is going to take place at this point, maybe the first day of the new administration. Now, is 950 additional beds? I don't know if it was additional or total beds, but let's just call it 1,000. Is that going to put a dent in the situation? I would say absolutely not, and hardly. Now, let me just give you a couple of numbers from here just in the state of Nevada. Now, nobody knows for sure, that's why they are quote unquote undocumented, that there are anywhere between 175,000 upwards to 400,000 here in the state of Nevada undocumented. Okay, some people say that Las Vegas, Clark County as a whole, could have upwards of 300,000 undocumented individuals. Our city of Las Vegas, 300,000. A conservative estimate is somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 125. So we're talking about anywhere from 5% of the population of Las Vegas and Clark County, upwards of 15% of the entire populace being undocumented. That is an enormous amount of people. So will 1,000 beds do anything? Not really. How are they going to go about it? Are they going to be knocking on doors? How is this even going to take place? I guess we'll all just have to wait and see. But what we do know is, yes, it is indeed going to take place. And what the ACLU is saying, hey, wait a second. Did you know that all the undocumented workers, which make up a big chunk of Nevada's workforce, contribute $500 million, $500 million in annual tax revenue to Nevada? I don't know where they're getting that number. I mean, we could work backwards from that number and just assess it at a flat 20%. If that's 20%, and then you could take what a predicted salary of said undocumented worker might be, anywhere from 30 to 50,000, we can figure out exactly how many people here, plus or minus. So someone did the math on it for them to come up with over 500 million in annual tax revenue. And that's the other thing I hear. I don't want to delve into the broader subject per se, only how it affects us here in Las Vegas and in Nevada. However, how will you survive without the revenue that these people are generating? Well, first I can say, if they're willing to pay their taxes, how about you go and become a citizen? If you're willing to pay taxes to the country you're living in, you might as well just take the step, and that might have been your first step, and go get yourselves legal if you're willing to pay taxes. I'm not like 100% buying the whole tax thing, but we shall see. You know, for as much as the people are on the flip side of this, if certain people are contributing just in the state of Nevada $500 million to the annual tax revenue, how much are on the system taking that back? Or again, I don't want to get into a deep conversation about the broader issue nationally that we have, just as it pertains to us. Now, where are these people working? Well, honestly, you see them on the strip. Do you think those people, selling beer legally out of coolers are citizens? I don't. Do you think the people who are selling those, bacon-wrapped hot dogs that were probably, left out in the sun since last summer, you think they're legal? I don't. I'm not besmirching them, but it's been proven that that's an issue. I always point out that there are people who are, lookouts and whatever. I mean, they're doing illegal activity anyway, but I think it's broader than that. Do they work in the casinos? Well, not so much. You'd think they would, but years ago, there was an issue during when this incoming administration was also in power a number of years ago. There was a push to sort of clean the books of people who were illegal. So this is almost 8 years ago. What happened here at the properties is they went ahead and said, guess what? HR called everyone. We have to check your green cards again. And because once they checked the green card coming in, if they checked the green card coming in, but for the most part they did. But afterwards, they were like, hey, green cards have to be renewed. Who's got an expired one? Whose has been used 3 times? So they tried to clean up the mess, and they brought people in, and they said, well, we need you to produce your green card within the next 30 days. Otherwise, we're going to have to let you go. And they indeed let a lot of people go based on that. So there was some people who wore out their welcome working in the properties. I mean, there might be some people using, other IDs, but that was cross-referenced. So a lot of people were let go for not having, some type of legal status to work here in Nevada. The other thing that the city and the county did was they actually made that part of rental property agreements. Like if you went to rent an apartment here, they never asked. Then they started asking. But this goes back a while. But there is line items in these rental agreements that say, first they want to know where you work and are you authorized to work. They don't come flat out and go like, hey, are you here legal or what? No, right in there, they're saying, are you authorized to work and where do you work at? Saying, are you legal to be here? Because in order to have a job that's going to go on this report saying you can afford this place, you have to be here legally. So they are mildly enforcing it. Yes, there is a rather large population here. I'm not going to speak on, my thoughts and concerns about it. I just want people to follow the letter and intent of the law and do the right thing. If you want to be here, there's ways you can be here. There's pathways open to you, and that's what I gotta say about that. So let me know what you think about that in the comments section. But again, keep it civil. You don't have to be a D about it. You can say what you gotta say, and I'm not gonna delete your comments and nothing like that. If YT chooses to, I got no control over that, but just don't be a D about it. But we need to start having these conversations, because 3 weeks from now, we're gonna see movement on this undocumented issue everywhere, and it's gonna be pretty freaking blatant here in the state of Nevada, given our population. And that's why I decided to talk about it. And you know, the other thing I want to talk about, inviting you to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button to get notified when I do this again, which is at least 5 times a week. And if you want to support the channel, check out all the links I got in the description. I got the Cash App, I got the Venmo, I got the Amazon, I got all the stuffs down there. And I got my own streaming platform, brorfredrik.com. And I also wanted to wish each and every one of you a blessed and a prosperous new year. Be safe, and I love you guys. And on that note, Bror Fredrik out.